It's noon here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, and, well, Ventnor City, New Jersey. And this is CarEdge Live for Monday, August 11th, with your hosts, me, Ray, and, well, my good-looking son, Zach. How are you today, handsome?
Happy Monday, everyone. August 11th. Just did the drive over here to Ventnor City, New Jersey to be side by side with my dad. As always, good to be here. Thank you, Mazda, for the CX-90, Dad. Going to be making some content with the CX-90 soon. But before we talk more about how banks have screwed the car market, and what we're going to review today is actually insane. Actually insane what we're going to look at. Before we do, folks, well, let's get rid of that background. There we go. CarEdge.com. We are coming up on the 6-year anniversary of building this business ourselves, the incredible team here back at CarEdge. Buying a car without a headache, it is accessible. Back in CarEdge land, go to CarEdge.com and a few resources. You can shop new, used, research vehicles, as well as research what prices to pay. That's really important. Check what your vehicle's worth and project out future value of your vehicle. Save money on insurance and warranty. And of course, Dad, we've got the AI negotiator going long, going strong back at CarEdge.com. Here's where I want to start today's show, however, Pops. The latest and greatest data that we just got from the Federal Reserve, as well as from Santander. Thank you. Fewer car buyers rejected for auto loans in Q2 amid rising demand to beat tariffs, data shows. Fewer car buyers rejected for auto loans is the really big story here. And the data around this is, I'm going to say it, shocking. What we're looking at here, rejection rate among auto loan applicants. In quarter two 2025 was 6.7%. 1 year prior. In Q2 of 2024, it was 19%, and just 1 quarter earlier, 90 days earlier, it was 14%. What? I was going to say, pray tell, what, Father, has changed between Q1 2025 and Q2 2025 that could allow banks to cut their rejection rates in half and approve even more auto loans?
Well, I'm going to suggest something that probably might seem outside of the box to you a little bit.
Let's hear it.
I think in quarter two, informed buyers said to themselves, need to get a car before the tariffs hit. Uninformed buyers wouldn't really know and wouldn't really care. So I think in quarter two that with the pull ahead for sales, what that really meant was the pull ahead with people with better credit than what we would normally see in any given quarter. And that, to me, is the reason why the rejection rate is as low as it is, because I think the quality of buyers was higher in the second quarter than it would traditionally be, because the more informed customers were out there buying cars trying to save tariff dollars.
We do have data on that. So we'll look down here just a moment. Application rate among consumers with a sub 680 credit score. It was 19% in Q2 2024. It was then 12% in Q1 2025. It was then 13% in Q2 2025. So you've got some story here that you can latch onto between Q2 2024 and Q2 2025. But Dad, you really don't have a story when you look just quarter over quarter. It was the same proportion of subprime credit. However, the rejection rate declined by half, more than half.
No, I get that, but I venture a guess that the percentage of people whose credit scores were 680 and above, which they're not giving us here, the percentage of those buyers was probably higher in quarter two this year than it was in quarter one this year and quarter two last year. I just, better informed buyers typically are better credit worthiness buyers. I'm trying to think of a nice way of saying it. I think there were smarter people in the market buying cars.
It's interesting you say that, though, because we have all sorts of data that shows us that a larger proportion of loans, I can pull up the Cox Automotive data, shows us that a larger proportion of loans are going to subprime credit borrowers. We had that data last week in the Cox Automotive data set. we have this data showing a lower rejection rate, and not by a little bit.
Yeah, but by a lot.
It is almost 300% lower rejection rate than it was a year ago. So I hear you a little bit, but we have all this data that shows that it's just still people buying cars. And I think your hypothesis that it's smarter shoppers,
yes,
maybe that's part of it. But I think there's a bigger story, which is people need to be getting into new vehicles, and banks are making riskier bets on auto loans. That's been the whole Carvana business model, for example.
Well,
and they've been able to succeed like crazy. And now we're seeing it in this data from the Federal Reserve as well, that a great way to keep the economy rolling, a great way to keep the car market going is just to prove people. Let me find the Cox data that shows that subprime lending is increasing.
I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying I think the reason behind this for Q2 is all the people that looked at what the impact of tariffs could be on pricing, and their credit worthiness was higher than what we would.
I'm telling you, the data doesn't back that up.
Well, we don't have the broken down data for Q2.
We get Cox Automotive data every single week. I'm going to pull it up on the screen. We're going to look at it together. You can have a hypothesis, but the data does not back that up, Dad. Every single week, we've got auto credit access here. We're going to open this one up.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, in here.
Yes.
Okay, there you go. Actually, there you go. Subprime share. The share of loans issued to subprime borrowers decreased by 50 basis points to 13.6% from 14.1% in June, indicating a move toward lower risk lending practices despite the general easing of credit standards. So actually, that's a good data point that backs up exactly what you were talking about.
Well, not really, because that was what happened in July, not.
Oh. So that would implicate actually Q3.
Yes. So yeah, you were willing just to take that on face value. I realized what it was talking about was, well, they're approving less subprime people in July than they did in June.
Yeah.
And June was part of Q2.
Yeah.
But is there anything in there that indicates what the average credit score is?
No, we don't have data on average credit
So
score.
that yes, it's my hypothesis that the average credit score we would find to be higher in Q2 because we have smarter, better informed customers out there trying to buy cars. You know, people that have bad credit or moderate credit, they're absolutely much more concerned about monthly payment than they are anything else. So if you take that into consideration, that those folks are just all they're hung up on is what that monthly payment's going to be. They're not as sophisticated a shopper as others who are out there trying, in my opinion, trying to beat the tariff increase. If you're a payment buyer, you're a payment buyer, and you don't care whether the payment's impacted by tariffs or not. You just want somebody to get you approved at the payment that you feel comfortable with.
That's fair.
So that's why I think.
We do have some data here, though, Dad, on loan term length. The share of loans with a term greater than 72 months actually went down a little bit as well, reflecting a shift towards shorter term financing and tighter affordability constraints. So that's actually good news. So we're seeing some oscillation here on what's going on from a lending perspective. However, that being said, where we are in terms of the negative equity that customers are bringing to the table, the approval rates, then back over here to the Fed data, you know, the expectation that these loans are going to go bad. How can you have only a 31% expectation that loans are going to go bad compared to 29% year over year when you've increased materially the number of people that you're accepting? I guess the only theory could be that the quality of those customers is higher. That being said, I'm questioning it a little bit.
You're on the fence about that.
And I'm thinking it's just a loosening of standards to keep the money machine going.
Well, there's always the pressure for the loosening of standards to keep the money machine going. We have the White House proclaiming as loudly as they possibly can, we need the Fed to lower rates. Why do they want the Fed to lower rates? So that They can encourage more borrowing to keep the money machine going. So yeah, I get it. Everybody's screaming we need to make it easier for people to be able to continue to bury themselves in debt.
Yeah.
I get that. I really do. Are we going to see any adjustments in say the Fed rate? Yeah, probably sometime in September is what everybody trying to read between the tea leaves is telling us, that we should expect rate cuts in September, and that the possibility exists that we could see up to 3 rate cuts this year. And what's a rate cut going to do? It's going to encourage more people to take on more debt, which at a certain point comes back to haunt us all.
I want to continue this conversation, but first, I want to thank the sponsor of today's show, our friends over at DeleteMe. Now, Pops, you and I both use DeleteMe. It's because data brokers are out there selling our information online, and anyone can buy it. Things like your phone number, your social security number, and home address are sold online.
Yes.
They're available to marketers, scammers, and
everyone in between. Even I could buy it if I wanted
if he really put his mind to it, he could
Yes.
probably figure it out. DeleteMe, however, the sponsor of today's program, helps you take control over your data. DeleteMe removes your personal information from hundreds of data brokers on your behalf. And for the CarEdge community, we have a 20% off coupon. You just use the code CarEdge or click on the link below, joindeleteme.com/CarEdge. It's in the top of the description. We thank DeleteMe for their continued sponsorship of this program. Dad, another
Yes.
storyline with this would be the negative equity that folks are showing up to the dealership with. So
Yes.
I find it fascinating that we
Yes.
have a greater proportion of customers getting approved for auto loans. Your theory is they're more qualified.
Yes. That's
Cool. Could
that's
be-
my
could be the
theory. I
case.
could be wrong. I could be right.
We also know, we have
Yes.
data on this from Edmunds,
Yes.
that more and more of them are bringing thousands and sometimes tens of thousands of dollars of negative equity to the table for that transaction,
Yes.
burying that, into the next auto loan. And these banks, unfortunately, are still approving it. Ted, the proportion of consumers with negative equity is over 1 in 4
Yes.
show up to buy a new car and have negative equity. And you can see here, Dad, 32.6% of those that have negative equity are between $5,000 and $10,000 upside down. Okay, that is 31.9% compared to 31.9% in the quarter prior and 30.2% the year earlier. 23.4%. So almost 1 in 4 people who show up with negative equity at the dealership have more than $10,000 in negative equity, and 7.7% have more than $15,000 in negative equity. So seeing this data
Yes.
and juxtaposing it again
Yes.
with the denial rate going down for lending makes me think that these banks are really the ones that are just, again, keeping the money machine going, making sure that no matter what, people can still afford to buy these things even if they can't.
Yeah, what that says to me is, okay, these are people who bought cars in 2021, 2022 when there was a shortage of cars.
Yeah.
That paid additional dealer markups, paid crazy prices for these vehicles.
Yep.
And today, 3 and 4 years later, they've decided that it's time for a new car. And well, because of when they bought them in the past and the prices they paid in the past, they are proud owners of greater negative equity than they ever would have been. And so this is just a byproduct of all those crazy ass dealer markups that we saw in 2021 and 2022. Now, I'm guessing that there's a sizable amount of cash down to compensate for some of that negative equity. But for whatever shortfalls there are, then that's going to impact people's payments moving forward, so that people are typically looking at longer terms.
Hate to break it to you, Dad, but we
Yeah.
have the data on down payment. Down payment percentage. The average down payment percentage declined by 20 basis points, the lowest it's been since November of 2022. A decline in average down payment percentage reduces upfront costs, expanding access to credit for budget-conscious customers. So we've got consumers, So we've got lower down
Yes.
payments actually being put down on these vehicles amidst higher levels of negative equity. That's then tied back to a rejection rate that is 1/3 of what it was just 1 year ago.
It sounds to me like a recipe for financial disaster for many people out there. And the whole reason that disaster is about to happen is because we are, as a society, are just groomed to buy things on time and not to pay cash for them.
Yeah.
Why not have what you want today by simply making an affordable monthly payment? And that's the whole ethos of this country, because nobody wants to be without. We
Yeah,
can't.
for sure.
And so when that happens, we see it spread into situations like this where people get themselves too deeply indebted in everything that they're trying to do. And eventually it will come back to bite us all in the ass. And what I mean by that is, if banks find themselves in trouble, your tax dollars and my tax dollars are what's going to be used to bail them out in the future.
Let's not.
Did it happen in 2008 and 2009?
Yeah, but that's a big, bold statement to make.
Are banks too big to fail in this country?
Let's not have that conversation. Let's keep this focused on the car market, Ted. Wow, you caught me off guard with that one.
I'm sorry.
I mean, okay, I wanted to turn the page a little bit to how folks can make smart decisions amidst this market situation. But maybe we'll just go put on a rerun of The Big Short. And we can all watch it together. But then let's talk for a moment about how folks can be smart in this environment. So obviously shopping for the right interest rate is really important.
Yes.
Because right now, if banks are giving all sorts of approvals out, you should be shotgunning your own credit application out there. Don't let the dealership do it. Go contact a bunch of different credit unions, for example. Go look at what the manufacturers are offering if you're thinking about a new car. So I think I'm just calling out that if what we're seeing is true,
yes,
which auto loan rejection rates are 300% lower than they were a year ago,
yes,
go take advantage of that. Shop your interest rate.
Well, I think the first thing you need to do as a consumer is understand what your credit score is and what your credit score is based on.
An auto FICO score
is different than just your overall credit score. But yeah, you have the ability to educate yourself today better than you did in the past. So, as a consumer, yeah, I want to know what my auto FICO score is. I want to know what my overall credit score is. I want to know where I fit in as far as percentages of available credit that I'm actually using. So what do I mean by that? I don't know. If you have a credit card that has a $25,000 limit, but there's only $1,000 in debt on that credit card, well, you're using a very small percentage of what's available to you. If, however, you're at 20,000, well, you're at 80% of your credit limit. That's going to impact credit scores. So it's how you utilize your credit, how quickly you pay it off. These are important things as a consumer that you need to understand, so that yes, you can shop for the best rate possible. Yes, you should understand what your budget is as to how much car you could actually afford before you ever walk into a dealership. So it's those type of things that the consumers can do.
I think it's also bringing to mind for me, because of that negative equity data.
Yes.
You should be prepared to potentially be upside down if you purchased a vehicle in 2020, 2021, 2022, and
yes,
flex all your muscles to get as much as flex all your muscles to get as much for your trade as possible. And so I think reviewing how to get a good loan term, or APR on your loan, and then reviewing how to make sure you get the most of the vehicle that you're selling. That trifecta, because then the third leg on the stool would be obviously the out the door price of the vehicle you're purchasing.
Pricing, yes.
But I would just call out those other two feel especially relevant based on what we've talked about today. Interest rate, trade-in, those are the two areas that I think could really screw up otherwise a great OTD or a great potential car deal. Yes,
and the way you do that is to be informed. Is to really understand. What I saw in here, Mark wants to know is an 840 credit score good? Yes, it is. An 840 credit score would be considered exceptional. So
anyway, wanted to call out that there are a few opportunities there amidst what's going on in the broader market. And as banks become loosey-goosey, which is essentially what CarEdge is telling you, is banks are becoming loosey-goosey, take advantage of it. Don't sit on the sidelines, folks. Get out there and buy some stuff.
Well, that's what banks want you to do.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right, Dad, let's switch gears a little bit here. Automotive News put out an article that I thought was pretty much what we made in a video a while
Yes.
ago. VW, Volvo, Polestar, Jaguar, Land Rover, and Ineos grapple with electrification and tariffs. Automotive News writing here about some brands that are struggling and may not make it on the other side of some of these strategic shifts and changes they've had. I mean, Volkswagen on this list of kind of brands that are really struggling is not too surprising when you look at the slowest selling cars in the United States. Audi, for example,
Yes.
is in terrible shape.
Yes.
They have way too much supply and not enough demand. Volvo, we know, is struggling mightily. Polestar, spinoff from Volvo, also
Yes.
struggling mightily. Jaguar Land Rover, we didn't talk about last week. They fired their CEO and replaced their CEO. Ineos, not really a big footprint. Tariff's going to hit that. So there's a whole subset of brands here that I think, I don't want to say could be going extinct, but their businesses are going to look a lot different.
Well, Volkswagen's not going to go extinct, and you know, I would suspect that Volvo and Polestar won't go extinct.
I don't know. Stan saying Volvo is toast pops.
Well, you know, I mean, I've got my toaster oven as well, but I think when you have Geely Motors, which is a Chinese company,
Yep.
that owns Volvo, they've got the wherewithal to keep Volvo going. Will they will they limit the amount of availability as far as models are concerned? Are they going to do away with the S90 and the S60? More than likely, they're going to have to limit their product to products that will be less impacted by tariffs than others. So
they're also going to jack up their incentives.
Well, they're going to have to do something.
They're going to have to do something.
But I would think Volvo would be around. I guarantee you that VW will be around.
For sure.
Jaguar Land Rover, not 100% certain there. You know, the Land Rover division is doing well. The Jaguar division, not so much. And we'll all see next year when the new electrified Jaguars come out, if it was a good bet or a bad bet. Right now, many people are suspecting that it was a very bad bet. But we'll find out.
Yeah, it seems interesting to me that those brands that we've called out in the recent past are struggling with their business plans and their ability, their viability. And again, Volkswagen obviously, will be. And quite frankly, all these brands will probably exist. They'll just be owned by someone else because they may have to be taken over, bankruptcy, things like that. Which bankruptcy, that B word, I mean, Nissan potentially on the doorstep of that. They're closing down 7 of their 17 global manufacturing sites. You know, the Nissan story with bankruptcy. So there's a lot of agita in the market right now.
I like that. All of a sudden, you're Italian. There's agita.
Yeah, let's come here from B-Man, E-Man. Appreciate the kind contribution.
Thank you.
Negative equity is a pretty word for debt.
Yes.
I know it's an industry term, but that doesn't make it right. Told my son it's like saying he has a negative 4.0 GPA.
I know that, kid. That was me. Yeah. Okay, so we live in a world where we come up with nice names for bad things. Okay, negative equity.
Underwater, upside down.
Yeah. Negative equity. Okay, you're a loser. Okay, you're sitting in a position where you owe more than what your vehicle's worth. That's not equity.
You objectively are not a loser.
Yeah.
Your situation is
a loser.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we dub it negative equity. It is. It's a negative position. You're on the wrong side.
I owe the bank more than what my car is worth.
Yes. So, yeah, I guess I could have said when I was in school, yeah, I've got a negative 4.0.
No, but I think it's a really valid point because most people don't think, oh crap, I owe $15,000 to the bank if I want to get rid of this car loan.
Well,
if I'm upside down or in a $50,000 negative equity position, which we know 7.7% of customers are.
Here's the real issue. Most people who finance a car, not lease a car, but finance a car, think they own the car. They do not.
The bank owns it.
The bank owns it. Okay? That's who owns the car. And so somebody once said, I believe a gentleman by the name of John Paul Getty had an oil company, and he said, you buy things that appreciate in value, and you lease things that depreciate in value. The one thing I can assure you is that 99.99% of all vehicles out there will depreciate in value. So the question as a consumer you need to ask yourself, if it's going to depreciate in value, why do I want to finance it for, I don't know, 84 months or 96 months or 108 months or 120 months? It seems like I'm always chasing equity and I'll never really have it.
Yeah.
So it is incumbent upon us as consumers, as much as we're going to hate to hear this, if we sign up for 6 years or 7 years on a car loan, we should plan. I hate to say this, folks. You should plan on, I don't know, keeping it 6 years or 7 years until you've paid it off. And then at that point, guess what? You really do own the car. The bank no longer has an interest in it. And whatever value you have, that is now your equity in the vehicle. And you're going to be shocked by how much value you've lost.
Here's a perfect example from Phil, one of the members of the CarEdge team.
Yes.
My Cadillac Lyric lease is $19,000 in negative equity. Thank goodness I leased, laugh out loud.
Yes.
So in that case, Phil does not own the vehicle. The
No.
leasing company owns the vehicle, and they are renting it out. They're leasing it out to him. The current value, which I'm imagining Phil used, CarEdge.com, and then clicked on what's my car worth, based the current value, like market value, versus what's owed on the vehicle, $19,000 upside down.
What is the normal depreciation at this point for a Tesla? It is approaching between 40 and 50% depreciation its first year. The first year of ownership. That's massive. Okay. That there is nothing that spells loss better than buying a Tesla.
And I want
lease it, and that loss isn't yours. Buy it, and you are the proud owner of 40 to 50% depreciation.
Tesla for sure. EVs in general.
EVs in general.
The whole category, and then within the category, there are some outliers, but the whole category, we were talking a year ago, 2 years ago, do not buy an electric vehicle, lease it. Lease it, so you're not in this situation.
Yeah.
If you got questions about leasing, leave them in the chat or in the comments. Victor wants to know, what site is used that has the car sales price and days on a lot? Well, thank you for that, Victor. CarEdge.com.
Our site?
Our site, me and my dad and our incredible team have built this over there. Shop new, shop used. You can click on either of these and it'll take you to the car search. And once you're on the car search, you have all sorts of great resources. For example, Dad, once this bad boy loads, you can actually sort and search based on days on market. Oldest, newest, for example. Over here on the left, you can set some filters around days on market as well. So maybe you want to have only vehicles that are a year old to a year and a half old. You can obviously use those filters. You want to filter by dealership. You can filter by dealership in the CarEdge car search as well. And my favorite thing, you can actually click negotiate this for me. And then have an AI agent, your CarEdge AI agent, actually contact the dealership on your behalf. We had this BMW from about a week and a half ago now, BMW of Atlantic City nearby here. We'll wait for the summary to pop on up for us. Here we go. Requested an out-the-door price, clarified about loyalties and rebates, targeting a $55,600 OTD, finally got an OTD, willingness to do tag transfers, etc. And Dad, just to show everyone, I did not have to, no one had to contact the dealership, but you get the out-the-door quote. So it's really, really useful stuff that you can get back at CarEdge.com. Protects your identity, it protects your interest, protects your ability to get a good deal. Check it out back on the website. So hopefully that's helpful. Let's come here, Dad.
Thank you, Shannon.
Good to see Shannon. Thank you. We appreciate it. As much as I enjoy my Beamer, it's not a long-term vehicle. Different mindset, but I'm glad I leased. Yay to Jammers Skill. Jammers one of the concierge. We also offer our concierge car buying service.
That helps Shannon get that.
Yeah, absolutely. So good to lease certain vehicles. Good to own other vehicles. Definitely leasing is a viable option.
Yes.
Okay, Pops. What else do I got here? Do I have anything else for today?
I'm not sure,
I think we're good.
We're good?
I think we're good.
Okay.
I think we'll call it a show.
Okay.
You and I are going to film a bunch of videos that'll show up over on the main CarEdge channel. Congratulations, 650,000 subscribers over there.
It's pretty crazy.
It's absolutely crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If y'all didn't see over on the main CarEdge channel, I'll pull it up really quickly. CarEdge. Let's go over here. Y'all, 650,000 subscribers. So thank you, everyone. We appreciate everyone who has subscribed to that channel. If you haven't subscribed, we appreciate it if you do.
Yes.
Keep this up long enough. I think we'll get to 1 million.
God willing, the creek don't rise. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we'll get there.
Yeah. I can't wait. Do we get a plaque for that?
We do get another plaque at 1 million. Yeah.
Okay. Did we ever get our plaque for this channel for
Yeah, it's at
100,000?
it's at my apartment.
Oh, well, thanks for letting me know.
Anyway, y'all, check out the main channel. We appreciate everyone that tunes in over here on CarEdge Live. And I'll be back here tomorrow, side by side with my dad.
Before your drive
before
back to
driving
DC?
back to Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hope you tune in tomorrow and spend more time with us.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. It's so good to have Sonny Boy sitting next to me. And looking forward to doing this again tomorrow.